there's massive mystery over military activity that's perhaps taking place in China. What we are being told is that over 6,000 flights have been cancelled in China. There's massive speculation as military convoys have entered Beijing. There's speculation as these military vehicles that have entered Beijing. There is a viral video. Social media is completely abuzz amid rumours, rather unsubstantiated reports that the Chinese president is under house arrest and that China is in the midst of a military coup. Now, all of this, remember, there is a huge speculation over this. Social media is completely abuzz, and the very fact that there isn't any activity, airline activity, or for that matter, even train activity in China that leads to that perhaps gives some amount of credence to this kind of a rumor. If you take a look at some of the reports that are basically emerging right now, there's hardly any commercial flights that's flying over the capital of Beijing. There are unverified reports claiming all trains and buses are also being cancelled out of Beijing. In fact, a short while back, a report that was published indicated that Beijing's capital airport's website does not show that several flights out of China's capital have been cancelled, but many others are still scheduled or already landed. But that is not, once again, verified. There have been also reports that the flights were cancelled amid a planned military exercise that's being carried out. Let me also bring in my colleague Niranjan, who's joining us from the Mumbai newsroom. Niranjan, there is also a video that has been posted on certain social media platforms that show a line of military vehicles of about 80 kilometers long heading into Beijing. But these are all amidst of reports of a military coup. And this particular video that I'm talking about is less than a minute. Yes. So there is nothing really verified at this point in time. No word really coming in from the administration per se. What more are you picking up?
Well, Shravan, it's suspicious. I'll tell you why. That video, of course, is one question that is being asked. That video of military convoys, some putting it at 80 kilometers. None of us will ever be able to tell you the truth about what really happened. But what we can tell you, real time, is this. Take a look at this. This is suspicious. And if my video journalist can just, show this, right? This is a flight. This is a live flight activity, Shravan. This is a flight. This is a live flight activity. Look at the flight activity over India, right? That's how many planes are in the skies, in the airspace. Look at the flight activity over China. Over 10,000 flights, Shravan, have been cancelled. This is China. All of this is China, right? All of this is China. All of this. And there is no aerial activity over China, not much. A few flights, handful of flights, but nothing outside of that. In mainland China, there are no flights. And from reports that we're picking up, Shravan, over China, over 10,000 flights have been cancelled as of 22nd, 23rd in the last few days, and not much news from China. The state media has gone completely silent, which is suspicious. The Global Times, the mouthpieces, completely silence, radio silence of the Chinese media on what really is going on, which forces us to ask some questions. Is the Chinese media reporting about the military build-up? No. Is the Chinese media talking about the flight cancellations? No. Is the Chinese media talking about where Xi Jinping is? No. Are there speculative reports about a coup? Yes. The Chinese social media is speculating about the possible coup. Now, of course, it could be rumor mongering, it could be speculative reports at best. But what makes it extremely suspicious is the fact that even the Chinese media, which often is bombastic about such things, which often likes to speak and make comments about Indian narrative, etc., has gone extremely silent on this. Madhav Nalapat is joining us, a very senior journalist. an expert at strategic affairs. Shravan, I'll just take one question from him and you can take it from there. What we will also do, our producers will put out the video that was published yesterday by someone on social media showing this build-up. Mr. Nalapat, what's going on? Live data showing that there is barely any activity, aerial activity, airspace is empty over China. What do you think is going on, Mr. Nalapat, as an expert who's been looking at this story and the build-up and the speculative reports? What's going on, Mr. Nalapat, according to you?
I'd just like to say that by the middle of October, Xi Jinping is going to ask for an unprecedented third five-year term as General Secretary of the party. And the important job in China, the only really important job, is that of General Secretary of the Chinese Communist Party. Now, it could be that that in case he is not able to get his own way and get all his titles back, he may shed the post of chairman of the Central Military Commission. This is just hypothetical. Hu Jintao, you will remember, for 2 years was not the CMC chairman. Jiang Zemin remained CMC chairman for the first 2 years of Hu Jintao's 10 years in power. But that is purely speculative. If you ask me, I'd like to say, despite all the noise that we are hearing, that Xi Jinping is likely to get his own way and to get all his posts on the 16th of October in the party congress.
Yes. Mr. Nalapat, stay with me, sir. I'll just get in another perspective, and I'd like you to stay with me on this as we look at not just the video, but live data of flight activity. I also have Sushant Sareen on the phone line. Sushant Sareen, what do you think is going on? Live tracker, flight radar, and even the Chinese websites that track flight movement showing very little movement in the skies over China. A lot of speculative reports. We don't know what's going on because suspiciously even the Chinese media has gone silent on it. Sushant.
Look, I think all the speculation about a kind of a coup taking place, I think it's just pure rumor mongering as of now. There is no other evidence to suggest that something like that might be happening. Some kind of an internal coup or regime change might be taking place. And yet, these reports that the airspace is empty, that, there have been some videos of army movements taking place and stuff like that. Now, it is entirely possible that, some kind of a countrywide drill is happening, given the kind of tensions which China is already facing with the United States, with India, with a couple of other places, that some kind of a countrywide drill is taking place. Maybe this is, the Chinese, in a manner of speaking, flexing their muscles or sending some signals. That could be a possible explanation for what is happening. But if there is something else, some kind of a domestic political upheaval, then I suppose we just have to be patient enough and we'll get to know in maybe a few hours, maybe a couple of days. But I don't think anything like that is happening. I'll agree with what Professor Nalapat is saying, that I think he's got all his flanks covered. Xi Jinping, he is most likely going to be getting a third term and maybe, some kind of a for-life position in the Communist Party hierarchy. That seems to be heading that way. And there is no reason to believe that something untoward might just happen at this point in time. So I would imagine that this is some kind of signaling to the rest of the world and some kind of a drill taking place, that if the Chinese need to shut down their airspace, they need to move forces, whether they can do it or not. But I could, of course, be wrong. But since everybody is speculating and people are speculating about a coup, to me, this seems to be a lot more plausible than what the other speculations are.
Yeah, absolutely. Sushant, that could be a possibility for all you know, some sort of a drill. But going back to Madhav Nalapat as well, Sushant, stay with me. Looking at these pictures, could be a drill. Mr. Nalapat, could be a drill. Could be just Xi Jinping, ensuring a military build-up ahead of that elevation, that coronation, whatever you call it. But the Chinese media not talking about the cancellations or not reporting. I mean, we know that there's no free press in China, but do you find it suspicious that that there's absolutely nothing coming out of there, apart from the social media chatter, or is that normal in a situation like this?
Look, Sun, like me, has been following China for a very long time, very closely. And I'd like to say that I had said this in the past, I'm saying it to you now. Xi Jinping has taken care of the past enemies he had, even enemies who were not dangerous to him. He has humiliated them, executed them, or put them in jail. The present enemies he has eliminated, and the future enemies, individuals whom he believes could be his enemies if times go sour for China and for him. So I would be very surprised if suddenly some kind of a coup or revolt is taking place, because I think he has tried to see to it that his past, present, and future enemies are now in the other world, in prison, or frankly humiliated and disgraced. Now, I'd like to say that, taking off from what Sushant was saying, I was just listening a few minutes ago to Foreign Minister Wang Yi's speech in the UN General Assembly. Wang Yi was unusually, if I may say so, direct about Taiwan. He spent a lot of time, apart from the usual Chinese talk, oh, we want peace, we want a wonderful world. It reminds me of India in the 1950s. We want a perfect world. We're all working together, la, la, la. I think the Chinese today are very similar to the fantasies that we used to talk about in the 1950s. But having said that, he has made a tremendous amount of time on Taiwan and been very direct about that, and essentially very directly warning the United States and other countries not to interfere in what is, according to him, a completely internal matter of China, including possibly a military thing. Now, whether that, this kind of drill is a kind of initial rehearsal in case there is some problem across Taiwan Straits caused by China, and if that problem leads to, a reaction from India, from Japan, from Australia, from the Quad, from the EU, from the UK, then is China prepared for that? Taking off from Sushant's, if I may say so, very perceptive observation, it could be a large-scale, unprecedented military drill to check and see, in case an operation is carried out, wherever. It could be in the Himalayan Massif, it could be in Taiwan, and in case there is other countries join that. For example, Taiwan, let's say the United States, Japan joined that. Certainly they will. Other countries also are likely to. If it's India, I think this time around, other countries are not going to stay on the sidelines. They will join in. If that is the situation, is China prepared for it? I suspect that, because very frankly, so far as the military is concerned, they've all sworn a personal oath of loyalty to Xi Jinping. The last I heard of this was when Adolf Hitler made every single soldier in the Wehrmacht, Luftwaffe, the Navy, all three services give a personal oath of loyalty to him. All soldiers in the PLA, PLAN, PLAAF have given a personal oath of loyalty to Xi Jinping. And I'd like to say, and Sushant will agree, somebody in uniform, a soldier, these oaths mean a lot more than they mean to civilians or especially to politicians.
Yeah, absolutely. Madhav Narapat and Sushant Sareen, thank you for joining us. Speculative reports. Shravan, handing it back to you. I think we need to take a short break. We'll take a break and come back. Speculative reports, nobody knows what's going on, and I think that's what makes it all the more interesting of the developments in China. Over to you, Shravan.
Well, in fact, there is a direct concern to us here in India, given the fact that there are certain reports, Niranjan, which essentially suggests that especially in the Tibetan region, their flights have also been cancelled there. What one needs to look at whether there is any uptick in the military air traffic over the Tibetan plateau or not. That's going to be another crucial area to look at beyond the speculations that we are staring at right now.